Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. Today's video is going to be more of an opinion piece, if you will, and that's mostly because we're going to talk about political unrest, protesting, acts of violence, where you stand your ground, what is enough is enough. And this is in light of what's going on in Canada, what's going on in the United States. As a prepper, what's the conservative approach to this? What's the more liberal approach to it? And I don't mean political wise. When I say conservative, what is the least that you should do, to stay the same? And when I say liberal, it's like, I put a liberal amount of syrup on my pancake. I just smothered it in syrup. So, I went to school for history. And for any of you that remember anything from your history textbooks, at least in the United States, they were upset about a tax on a daily commodity that nearly everyone consumed at 2%. The taxes slowly started coming out on more and more daily use items, and they addressed their grievances over it, and that was their civil war, in a brief, nutshell. So they did do the whole, let's send a letter with petitions, or let's send representatives of the colony to, fight on our behalf, within Parliament. And so they did several of the peaceful things that you can do before just outright shooting each other. And so a lot of people in the United States, people have wrote books. There has probably been a year's worth of videos, minute, hour-wise, released, if not more, discussing, are we in a civil war? Are we in the beginning? Have we crossed that threshold of no return? And as a prepper, it can be concerning because, a civil war definitely falls under the parameters of crap has hit the fan. Massive protests that turn violent in your area. I mean, that's a localized crap hits the fan situation. And when it spreads throughout the nation, it quickly becomes a nationwide crap hits the fan situation. So as a prepper, what are my thoughts on all of this? How do you handle these situations as a prepper? Especially when we still have most of our, if not all of our, institutions running, and, at what point do your principles, at what point do you have to act on, your principles, what's been instilled in you, Uh, so, the very first thing I would say, and this is the conservative approach, is a lot of these organizations that hold rallies and protests, and I'm talking left and right, they don't want violence. They want it to be a peaceful demonstration. Um, and that basically shows that, you know, we have grievances, but we're not going to tear the system down. And from politicians and stuff, that's saying, look, the mob, which could very clearly overrun you, isn't doing that. You know, it's a my take on a very modern, French society. The upper ruling elite and the monarchy, uh, they were making life hell. And it didn't take long for like the 99% of the population to figure out it doesn't matter that they have all the fancy equipment and all the money. There's way more of us than there are of them. Um, and people on both sides, or I don't quite want to call them anarchists, but people that believe in most of what that organization does, except they add, their little bit of extreme stuff, it taints a lot of this on both sides. But it also doesn't seem that way based on the media within the United States. Uh, a vast majority of it is left leaning, and so they defend their constituents' actions, you know, all the way down to the point where, a judge has ruled against different individuals with different acts. And then they just don't talk about it. And with, the right of politics, they vilify it all the way up until the point where something is proven innocent, or, they're taking it way out of proportion. And if they're ever wrong, then they just don't talk about it. Uh, so, my conservative approach, and this is something I believe in quite a bit actually, is kind of the way, I forget the character he played, but Mel Gibson in The Patriot. I really like his approach. He was definitely living the life of a warrior, uh, living in a garden, than a gardener living in a war. Uh, if you don't go to these kind of things, uh, then it typically keeps you out of, you know, harm's way when things go south. Uh, it all depends on, what you believe in. Uh, the March for Life. It is 99% a very safe, political protest. Uh, I think it's also a moral protest because I don't think I've explained this to a lot of people, but as I've gotten older, I've leaned more libertarian, and my mindset is I believe abortion is morally wrong to the point of I will never condone it for myself, my family, anything like that. Wife believes the same way. This is where we differ. Uh, if that is something you want to go through with, I shouldn't be able to stop you from doing something. But I also don't want my taxes to pay for it. Uh, I believe there are many steps in between that could have mitigated that issue, uh, that are pretty inexpensive that you could have dealt with on your own. Other people probably would not agree with me on that, and I'm okay to listen to their arguments and stuff, but I think it's partially our society, our moral teaching has changed so much on that. And, that's how I sit on that. Am I going to go to a protest, for or against it? Most likely not. Uh, Same thing with, you know, other issues that I have. You know, Basically, what I would do if I were you is I would write down your line in the sand for as many of the issues that you believe in as possible. And then tell yourself when that line is crossed, this is what I will do. I'm not advocating for violence in any way, uh, but I strongly believe if the founding fathers were alive today and they saw the system in the United States and they had time to process it, they'd probably agree with a substantial amount of it. And then other things, they would have been like, why haven't you thrown hands yet? Uh, so if your line in the sand is crossed and you do nothing, you're a coward. But you also need to decide what you're going to do to stop your line in the sand from being crossed. And I think one of the easiest things you can do that is as peaceful as it can get, in my opinion, is the ballot box. Vote for the people that believe in what you believe in. Advocate for those people. And I think you'll see you're in pretty good hands when you do that. The soapbox. I'm talking about issues and stuff with y'all. I believe this is the virtual soapbox. When people watch my videos, they agree with my stuff, they disagree with it, we have conversations. That's, a nice way to put it. That's where you have other platforms. I think we are mostly past the point of actually standing up on a soapbox and trying to convince people to believe in what you believe in. But the rallies and protests also show that that is still alive and well. So you can do that, up to what you consider safe. Because I've made the argument as a prepper for a long time that being the gray man, not standing out, is also an extremely great way to stay safe. You don't show your hand until you're ready to show your hand. And until then, everyone thinks you got a pair of sixes. So, we've got the ballot box, the soap box. I think they've always said there was 4 of them. I know one of them. It's the cartridge box. Trying to think of what the last one was. They say speak with people, vote. I don't know. Someone in the comment section down below, let me know what the 4th one is. But they always say you use the last one when you've exhausted the other 3. And I firmly believe in that. I believe people that could annihilate each other, but they solve their differences with words, are much stronger people than those who just use force to get what they want. But as a prepper, what does this all mean? I think, being aware, keeping up with the news, enough that you can make smart decisions about, you know, voting and getting your representatives to align with you as best as possible. So being aware of your situation. I think it also deals strongly with um, your level of comfort, your level of risk. You need to decide, as you know, if your livelihood and your lifestyle and what you do as a prepper, then you need to look at what makes you the best prepper, what keeps you from having to, act on your supplies and all of this other stuff. Uh, Determine your line in the sand and how you're going to not have it be crossed and what you're going to do when it does become crossed. Uh, you made a plan, you stuck through with your plan. And, at some point, maybe the people on, the news that are speaking or having millions of people, listen to what they have to say, maybe it does happen, what they're saying. And as a prepper, you want to be as prepared for those situations as you possibly can be. Uh, I would rather have 6 months worth of food and never have to use it and it becomes my kid's issue than go 6 months without food being on the grocery shelves and me not have anything. Uh, with the skills that I have, I would be able to survive, I believe. Uh, but it would not be an easy survival. Uh, so, stack to the rafters, keep up with the news, uh, perform your democratic duties, vote, speak out on issues you believe in, speak out against issues that you do not believe in. Build your community, and if nothing happens, you know, I'm gonna knock on wood. I've got a wooden handle on my knife. You know, there are people that pay for car insurance for their entire life. They never get in an accident. There are people that pay for car insurance for their entire life and they've been in 10 accidents. Everything that you do for prepping is for that what if situation. And for a lot of situations we prep for, it's not what if, but it's when. So with that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like the video if you enjoy these, opinion style topics. Share the video with a friend or family member if they would benefit from our discussion today. And lastly, subscribe and hit the bell notification because you never know what part of the day I'm going to release my videos. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.